Ladies and gentlemen, when I do these segments on the Supreme Court ruling eventually in Trump's favor, I do so because he's already won very important cases or judgments showing that as a former president, he enjoys, for example, immunity. This is a Bloomberg article. Trump immune from suit for comments made in office. Judge said former president not immune for later comments after office, but during office, he's immune. He's immune from any conviction or case. A state worker claimed false accusations led to a very terrible situation. So this was a ruling that was made because Trump was a president when he made certain comments. A president does enjoy, is granted immunity by the Constitution for official acts, in this case, statements. You can look also, there's a Hill article, Judge rules false claims. Don't you love when Trump was accused of being an operative of the Kremlin? They were never viewed as false claims, even though they were baseless, and eventually they were deemed completely false. Trump was never an operative of another country, yet all throughout the Mueller probe, claims and allegations and baseless speculation was never deemed categorically false. Trump, when he makes claims and they're allegedly debunked by journalists who ask somebody else what they think of Trump's claims, and then that person, a quote-unquote expert, says, no, Trump's claims are false. Now all his claims are false, even though none of his claims were truly investigated. So the double standard is unbelievable. But here, judge rules Trump false claims while in office covered by presidential immunity. He's already been granted, or the courts have already been giving Trump presidential immunity. What do you think the Supreme Court will do? A Pennsylvania state judge ruled Monday that a state worker cannot sue former President Trump over statements he made showing doubt in results while in office, finding the statements are protected by presidential immunity. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. This happened in August of 2023, and you have a Politico article. Trump says he has immunity. Will the Supreme Court beg to differ? Well, there are only a few legal precedents, and they leave some room for doubt. But the legal precedents all back Trump, including the recent ones this year in Pennsylvania. What took place, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. And hit subscribe to this channel if you want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com. My Patreon is below, and my super thanks is below next to the like and the share buttons. If you are going to accuse Trump of committing crimes, and his crimes are not believing the Democratic Party or accusing Democrats of railroading him in the manner they did Bernie Sanders, okay, if his crime is based on liberal sensibilities, okay, so liberals, you have to, all of these indictments are filtered through the wonderful, morally superior, oftentimes apoplectic, but always highly educated liberal sensibilities, liberal Democratic Party sensibilities. Every accusation of Trump is filtered through the mind, the conscience of a liberal. It's a famous phrase, the sensibilities of liberal Democrats. What I mean by that is when they accuse Trump of casting doubt, making false claims about 2020. Okay, you cannot say that Trump made any false claims. Literally none of his claims have been debunked. They have been refuted. To refute or to offer a rebuttal doesn't mean that Trump's claims where he's suspicious have been debunked. Trump is showing an emotion. He is showing an emotion based on anomalies that have never taken place before in this country. Okay, based on very bizarre, peculiar events 2 years ago. Okay, you had 51 intelligence officials claim that Hunter's laptop was again, a plot by another country. That's never happened before in American politics. You've never had 51 former intel officials go to bat for one political party. You've never had a person up in 6 or 7 states, then losing with his competitor, suddenly gaining enough to win. So these things have never taken place. And then when you look at, for example, a suitcase in a certain state, the rebuttal is, well, state officials have said that there's nothing wrong. That's not a debunking. You have not debunked anything because a Washington Post writer spoke to a state official who has everything to lose if impropriety is found. None of Trump's claims have been debunked. Every fact-checking article can be then refuted by a writer at the Federalist. And I've been published at the Federalist, or one of Rudy Giuliani, or anyone indicted around Trump. All of them believed that what took place 2 years ago was a travesty. Not one person didn't believe what Trump was saying. The people who were indicted all truly believed, based on, for example, affidavits, witnesses, people who were willing to testify before Congress. Okay? You had a public relations monstrosity. You had a woman in Michigan, I believe, who witnessed a tech, she worked for a tech company, and Saturday Night Live devoted an entire segment to disparaging her, an entire skit. If you speak out and back Trump, your life is then ruined, and the entire American political system converges upon you, especially 2 years ago. Okay, and so there were hit pieces on her trying to investigate her, and so any allegation that Trump made was never investigated. The Federal Bureau of Investigation never investigated any of his claims. There were never congressional subpoenas. There were never demands for testimony. And so you had a one fact-check rebuttal article in major papers regarding a bizarre instance of a suitcase or a duffel bag. Okay, so when people were told, there were people who would have testified before Congress that they were told to leave a certain location. The state official says, no, that didn't happen. Well, that's not a fact check. That's not a categorical. Trump is false claims, and what he did was wrong, and it's this he conspired along with this organization he created to engage in a racketeering criminal enterprise. These indictments are all run through liberal sensibilities. The way Democrats see the world and see Trump, they have written indictments to reflect that. But the reality is, a judge has already ruled, okay? A judge has already ruled, ladies and gentlemen, that he is granted presidential immunity, okay? He was also president with the power to declassify. So when you have CNN pundits saying, oh, do you think it's okay for Trump to just have classified documents? Well, Hunter, Joe, Clinton had, Hillary had top secret intel on servers. You have more classified data floating around Democratic administrations, President Obama's administration. A week before the election, Uma Abedin had classified data on a laptop. They can't do anything without a laptop or emails or classified data flying around, ruining their chances. So, in that respect, they do infinitely worse, but Trump was also a former president with the power to declassify. Trump was not fined by the FEC in New York. Clinton was. So the hush money payment indictment is nonsense. Even the predecessor to the current DA in New York, in Manhattan, didn't file charges. All of these charges will be either overturned. There will be convictions, but they'll be overturned. This will be all victories for Trump, okay, and the people around him too. They're not going to convict. Well, we'll get to the people around him. But hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. He has immunity as president.